brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Now it's sipping time.
Yeah, it's sipping time. Hello and welcome to this episode of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, where everything good in life is worth discussing. As always, we are the best thing on at 2 a.m. This is a 1-hour show, and we pretend to be entertaining for 21.5 minutes.
Could be 21.6 today.
I doubt
Wow.
it. You know, we try to be entertaining. It's like cosplay without, you know, the costumes and the nerds. This is Made Man Bob, and joining me today are good old gal Denise.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure. Well, it's usually a pleasure.
Gentlemen.
Who are you addressing? There are no gentlemen
the
in the room.
threesome at this table.
Don't say that around this group. Ooh. Ugh, I think I threw up my mouth a little. Made Man Maury.
Good morning, Bob. I love the musical theme in the basement today.
We try. And good old boy Justin.
Good morning, Bob. Thanks for the monogram cowboy hats. Appreciate it very much.
Yeehaw.
And good old boy Harmeet. Oh, wait, that's right. He's not here today. I knew it seemed pleasant here and happy. It seems so much brighter without him. Am I just imagining it? I'm just saying.
Or perhaps the sun's coming up.
That's what it is. You know. Maury and myself are with the Bourbon Mafia. The Bourbon Mafia is a nonprofit organization composed of bourbon enthusiasts and industry professionals. With representation in 8 states, our members combine a love of bourbon with a passion for charitable work. The group uses their love of our native spirit to raise money for local and national charities through rare bottle auctions and other themed events. Check us out on Facebook at the Bourbon Mafia. Our show is also sponsored in part by Fine Spirits in Cooper City, Florida, home of the Enigmatic Machines, serving great wines, whiskeys, and other spirits by the glass. You can find them at www.finespirits.net. You can't find them at this table today because he couldn't make it. And our show is also sponsored in part by the Fort Lauderdale Whiskey Society. To find out more about the society and all of their events, you can visit them at ftlws.com. And our sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, coffee, and pretty much anything else that you can drink. And today's show, we're going to be discussing some whiskeys from Heaven's Door and Treaty Oak out of Texas. So here's a list of the whiskeys we're going to be tasting today. We have the Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon. We have the Heaven's Door Straight Rye Whiskey. We have the Heaven's Door Double Barrel Whiskey. From Treaty Oak, we have the Treaty Oak Ghost Hill Texas Bourbon Whiskey, the Red-Handed Bourbon Whiskey, and the Red-Handed Rye. So we're going to have Justin, in the spirit, read out our sips ratings in, God help me.
You better adjust your hat, Justin.
In his best Texas accent. So what do you think, Bane?
Let the games begin.
Okay, well, you're going to trust a man with a face mask. All right, Justin, hit it.
1. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
I'm still so stunned I can't find the button to press. That's Texas? That sounds more like Texas. Okay.
2. Nice. But what else do you have?
I'm pretty sure John Wayne is rolling over right now.
3. Interesting. What was this again?
Oh, it's very interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Master, for letting me come here. Oh, Renfield likes to eat the bugs. Okay.
Good Lord. You sound like Dracula's henchman. Oh, God. Okay. Let's keep going.
4. Let's keep this secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
That's classified.
If I was you, I'd never go to Texas after this.
I really thought you were going to throw a partner in there, but no.
5. Oh my. I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh my goodness!
It's the Swedish Texan, I think. Okay. All right. Thanks, Justin, for that very interesting.
Entertaining.
Oh, it's entertaining. Okay. I'm just,
You're speechless.
I got nothing. Okay. So we're going to go to Maury, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Heaven's Door.
And will you be doing that with a Texas accent or singing? And
He's going to do it
playing
with the Bob
guitar?
Dylan accent.
I won't be singing.
Yeah.
I won't be playing guitar. It'll be just little old me.
Aw.
No Bob Dylan accent?
The evolution of Heaven's Door started with Mr. Mark Bushala, one of the original investors at Angel's Envy. Mark had discovered that music icon Bob Dylan had an interest in the whiskey business, and when he heard that Mr. Dylan had filed a trademark application for bootleg whiskey, they met through a mutual acquaintance to discuss their shared love for whiskey, and at that meeting led to a partnership where they began working together to develop a series of whiskeys, each with their own personality. But whiskey and music aren't Mr. Dylan's only love. He's also very passionate about his art. So, taking that into consideration, they decided to incorporate that art into the packaging for their new whiskey. They took the gates that Mr. Dylan had created for the entrance to his Black Buffalo Ironworks and featured them prominently on the bottle for Heaven's Door whiskey. These gates were created using metal objects that were found in scrapyards and farms in his travels all over America, and it makes for a very distinctive presentation on the bottles. That's something I didn't know before, so that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
More than I just thought it was a strange label.
And we're looking at the bottle, so
Oh, it's
yeah,
totally made.
it's
I just
really
made that
interesting.
up. No, it's complete falsehood. Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds good.
It sounds good.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
So, more than just a celebrity loaning his name to a product, Bob Dylan was intimately, and I mean intimately, involved in the process, participating in the selection and blending of the whiskeys for each expression.
Yeah, he's got quite the.
How intimate was it?
Is
He's
that
got
made
quite
up?
the metal studio up there. I've seen some pictures of it, and I look at it and I'm like thinking, yeah, if I, had, the means to do that, that's probably what I'd do. I'd have a big warehouse with welders and torches and machine tools and just go in there and screw around, every day and have fun. So I think he's living the dream, at least as far as I can tell. All right, so we're going to go to our first whiskey from Heaven's Door, and we're going to have Denise tell us all about that one.
Oh, okay, perfect. So this is Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon, 90 proof, which is 45% ABV. It's aged a minimum of 8 years. The mash bill, 70% corn, a non-disclosed distillery, maybe Pritchard's.
That's my guess. That is a complete blind guess, but it just doesn't taste like Dickel to me.
Right.
And we know, the giant behemoth isn't selling to anybody.
So it's a
and
mystery.
who's got whiskey that old there that has any quantity to sell?
Yeah.
That mash bill doesn't sound like a mash bill that I'm aware of at Dickel. So it's
Maybe
a guess.
Pritchard's.
It's a guess. But
And-
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It was a gold medal winner in 2018 at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
My buddy Nate was one of the judges there. So
Nice.
Yep.
Very good. So, what do you think about the color? It's a light straw color, kind of like most of them at the table today. For me, on the nose, it was sweeter. I definitely got vanilla. I got some honey, and I don't know about anybody else. I got some ash, a little bit of ash, maybe.
I didn't get that, but I do get
On the
the
nose?
sweetness, the vanilla, and the
Do
honey.
you get
I would
that?
agree with you.
Yeah, really sweet on the nose for me. On the
baking
palate,
spice.
yeah. On the palate, I really get the same thing. I get a lot of new oak, a lot of vanilla. It's really sweet for me. Definitely a little young. And I was surprised, though, by the finish. I thought the finish was just a little bit longer than I expected. So I enjoyed the finish. But it was a little sweet for me on the nose and on the palate. How about you,
I
Maury?
think we should clarify too. It says aged minimum of 8 years on their website. The bottle we have says aged minimum of 6.5.
in the paragraph without a true age statement.
Yeah. So it doesn't give an age statement, but their company site says minimum of 8. The bottle itself says minimum of 6.5. So that's why I went with 8 on our paperwork here, but we're not really sure.
I agree with Denise. It does taste a little bit young, particularly for a 6 or 8 year old whiskey. I thought it was pleasant. It was very nice. I agree with everything you said, Denise.
That's a first.
Right.
Yeah, it really is.
Did you tape that? Oh, I'm taping it.
You're
Never mind.
taping it.
Yeah. I'll send you a disc.
Perfect.
It's a pleasant whiskey. It's not really, doesn't knock your socks off, doesn't really send me someplace I've never been before, but I thought it was well made. I thought it was pleasant.
He might just be jaded. What'd you think, Justin?
So on the nose, I got cinnamon, baking spice, a little vanilla. When I tasted it, and it's really mellowed out now that air's gotten to it. I got a strong mocha, spice, and like cashews, but with air, all those is kind of faded.
I thought it improved with air. When I first got it out of the bottle, it was closed, and it really opened up quite a bit. But there's no question some of these will just dissipate.
Yeah. And the finish, I thought, was on the long side.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I really thought it was going to be a much shorter finish. And
Maybe that's where the age shows.
Yeah, I get pecans on the nose, like at the tip of the nose. In the back is where I get all the sweet, but in the tip you get that sort of slightly tannic bitterness of the pecan and sort of that roasted nut. I get a lot of the mocha, like cocoa flavor on this. And I get the cinnamon, and I get the cloves, and I get just a slight bit of peanut, which made me think maybe Dickel, because Dickel, once in a while, I'll get that peanutty flavor on the Dickel. But I don't think it's Dickel.
It tastes more like the bean peanut.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't taste like that once in a while Dickel peanut that you get. Yeah. So we're going to be giving this one 3 sips.
Interesting.
Hey, and we're back, and we're discussing some whiskeys from Heaven's Door, Bob Dylan's new venture into the whiskey world, and we just did the Heaven's Door Tennessee Bourbon. We gave that 3 sips. So we're going to be moving on to our next whiskey, which is the Heaven's Door Straight Rye Whiskey. Let me grab that one. It's 92 proof, 46% ABV, unknown bash bill, non-disclosed distillery. All right, so we don't know anything.
It's mystery whiskey.
It's gold medal winner of San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Breaking with convention, Heaven's Door finishes its straight rye whiskey in toasted oak cigar barrels, harvested and air-dried in the low-lying region near Vosges, France. They're called cigar barrels not because they age cigars, but because of their elongated shape, almost like a port pipe. So when I first saw that, I went, cigar barrels? You put them in cigars, but that's basically what they're doing. So they're trying to pick up a little bit of that French oak flavor. This one on the nose, I get a huge burst of citrus, like orange peel, and then I get in the back I get leather, but not like old leather, more like new leather, like that new car smell kind of leather. On the palate, hold on. The citrus still comes through. I get a lot of spearmint. I get brown sugar, like a burnt brown sugar, and I get a little bit of clove on it. I'm thinking some of these flavors, especially I'm thinking the citrus is coming from that French oak, because that's a different flavor for me for this. What'd you guys think?
I definitely got the mint. I got the mint on the nose as well. I mean, I got the orange for sure, the citrus.
Yeah, it's
orange,
like
orange peel oil,
wow.
like that.
Yeah.
Oil
Yes,
of orange peel,
absolutely.
really interesting.
Yeah, it's just an orange bomb.
I immediately thought mint on the nose, so definitely that comes through on the palate as well. I agree with the brown sugar. I like it. It's like the one before it, though, for me. It's a little sweet. Not unpleasantly sweet. It's just surprisingly sweet, I guess is really what I want to say. And the finish for me was short and sweet, literally. I felt like it got a little bit sweeter and it was really short. And so I tried it a couple more times just to sort of capture the finish. But it's interesting. What do you think, Justin?
It's unusual to get that
So-
citrus,
Yeah.
sweet and citrus on a rye.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
notice the mint immediately, but after you guys talked about it, I went and had a shot again, and it's definitely there. I got serious orange peel on the nose. I got cloves and pleather.
There you
Like
go.
the fake leather and the cheap Camaro.
Like those pants that you keep wearing?
Yes, just
the
like
80s?
those from the 80s. Yes,
Oh,
80s are still here.
are you saying 80s leather assless chaps?
Well, you're just
Oh.
fantasizing there.
Give me a bottle of anything and a glazed donut.
Yes.
Come on, Dave is king. Dave was king.
Yes, he
Come on,
was.
you remember
But
that
how
one?
Yes.
perfect would that have been with your hat today?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Oh, it all works.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Through the magic of radio, we'll never know.
Now I'm sad.
And I got star anise on it too, and the finish was on the short side. And I got like
It was
some,
all front of the palate.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
all front of the palate. The back
Yep.
just dropped off, but the front stayed there, but the back completely dropped off.
it's a quick hit shot. What did you think, Maury?
Well, I really wanted to agree with most of what you said until you got to the assless chap. I also
And then he got
didn't
very
quite-
distracted.
I didn't quite agree with the pleather either. But other than that,
But you
know
were
a lot
happy to
about
hear
the notes
Diamond
of
Dave, now
assless
weren't you?
chaps,
Come on,
Mark?
admit it.
I thought you were on the right track. I thought and honestly, to be candid, it was my favorite expression from Heaven's Door. I agree, it did have a short finish, and I'm used to a longer finish. But that said, I thought it was pleasant up front. It was a very
Unfortunately,
unique
Denise is not.
Aspirational.
It was a unique rye. I thought it was different than almost any other rye I'd ever had.
I will absolutely give you that. It is very, very unique. And I think it's the French oak barrels.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be the French oak barrels. Whether or not it was the cigar shape or not, I couldn't say.
Yeah, whether it's the shape or not, I doubt that, but definitely the French oak. You can get that French oak flavor out of this.
Now, we have no idea how long it's spent in those barrels. We have no idea how old it is. It's definitely mature and not young. But I agree with everything that's been said. To me, the mint was in the background. I definitely got the burnt sugar, a lot of the orange peel, oil of orange peel, a little bit of clove. I think it's an interesting whiskey. Definitely a little bit different, and it's just not your average rye.
Yeah.
Not
well,
your average bear boo-boo.
right.
No.
Well, so often I've described many ryes, as you know, as sweet, and everybody says they're not sweet, they're spicy. But rye,
has no
This
spice.
one is
Right.
This one's sweet.
This one
Exactly.
has virtually no spice.
You know where I get it?
there's
I
no
get it
pepper.
all after you swallow, and it's all along just the very front edge of your tongue. And then you
Right.
get a lot of spice then. The rest of the finish falls up, but you get the spice up front. But as it goes in and rolls around, yeah, there's almost no spice. It's very sweet.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you're right. The spice comes really late in the front of your tongue.
right at the end.
And it's fast,
like
so you
it's
gotta pay
like just as
attention.
it goes away, it goes. Oh, by the way, I'm a rye.
Right.
So yeah, I think it was
It's
interesting.
mostly sweet and orangey.
But it's high corn, high rye.
Could make an interesting cocktail. I like to put an orange bitters in my old fashioned. I think this could be interesting in an old fashioned with just regular Ango bitters.
When I want bitter, I just ask Carmeet, squeeze him. He's Mr. Bitter.
You wouldn't have to put much simple syrup in this old fashioned.
No,
that's what,
you
Go
exactly
light
right.
on that.
go light on a regular Ango bitter,
Yeah.
a little dash of simple, and I
Which
think
would
this
make it really whiskey forward, which
a
is
nice
what
whiskey
forward
you look
cocktail.
for anyway.
I do have
Right.
a really nice
Yeah.
jar of cherries over there. I'm just saying.
I know. I saw that jar of cherries.
Yeah.
I saw them.
Yeah. We'll throw one in.
From the Traverse City whiskey show that we did a while back. So, yeah, just pointing that out. So,
Okay.
all right. So we're going to be rating the Heaven's Door Straight Rye Whiskey 3 sips.
Interesting.
All right, and we're going on to our next one, and we're going to have Justin tell it. Please don't do it in the Texas accent, please. Please.
Okay.
For the love of God, please.
You just can't handle its awesomeness. That's okay.
I thought Igor, Frankenstein's assistant, was a pretty.
yeah, that
Wow.
got slipped in there.
Yeah, there was a little bit of Renfield in
It
there.
was just to make sure Maury was.
When I
paying
heard
attention.
Renfield, I just started wondering, like, is there something wrong? Is he like having a stroke or something like that?
Are you insane? Maybe some mild post-traumatic stress disorder, but
But he drinks a lot, so
yeah, I think I've got a pretty good handle on it.
That's true. Okay. All right, Justin, go ahead.
You just thought because he was drooling on himself, but that's nothing
That's
new.
normal.
That's every day.
That's why we keep the bib on him. Because then if you don't, the shirt gets all nasty.
Heaven's Door Double Barrel Whiskey. It's 100 proof, 50% alcohol by volume. That one, I could do the math.
Your math skills are
On his
improving.
best day, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Comprised of a distinctive blend of 3 whiskeys, the Heaven's Door Double Barrel finishing utilizes hand-toasted, new American oak barrels for secondary aging worthy of another year's wait. It was a light
That's
brown.
really informative, Justin. I feel like I know exactly what this whiskey's made from.
That's awesome. Keep listening. I'll educate you some more. So it's a light brown color on the nose.
Stop talking about Harmeet. He's resting.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Harmeet, I got a nose of caramel, oak, vanilla, coconut, and pears. Really identical to this spirit.
Well, that and feet,
Yeah, and that hint of pleather that we had in the other spirit.
He's focused on pleather.
He is today.
Hey,
So
if I
it's pants.
smell
This
it,
must be
that's
the
where
gimp
it is.
mask. Did you leave your gimp mask in the car?
It's on the
I think he
driver's
did,
seat.
yeah. He drives with it. What are you kidding?
You know, those red light cameras pick
he
up
does,
everything.
he's not going to drive without it.
No,
and he
of
gets
course not.
He gets scared.
Right.
Oh,
It's like a luchador.
Yeah, there you go. Just
I can see that somehow.
Just a little kinkier.
I just can.
Just a little kinkier than a luchador. Yeah.
But on the way home,
There
I'll have
is the title of
cowboy
this
hat,
episode.
Too, so
Only kinky the first time, Bob.
that's right.
Oh, I don't want to go there.
On the palate, I got butterscotch, cocoa, vanilla, and the finish was unfortunately short. What'd you think, Bob?
Oh,
Don't talk about your parts.
Well, definitely on the nose, I get the caramel and I get the vanilla. I get some coconut on it. I get a little bit of sweetness up in the very tip of the nose, almost like a stewed fruit. And then on the palate, I get the oak, I get the butterscotch, and then I get a definite, not a chocolate, but a cocoa. It's a dry. It's like when you open the thing of cocoa and it poofs up and you get a little bit in your mouth.
the baking cocoa.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
So it's that dry sort of mocha cocoa flavor. I get a little bit of the sort of overripe stewed fruit sweetness. And I swear, I think I'm picking up a little bit of peanut on it, on the nose.
Uh-oh.
I think.
Could be some Dickel source in there.
Stop
Could just
eating all
be-
those Snickers before the show.
It just could be the alcohol, but
I get a little peanut on the nose.
just now. I mean, I didn't when we opened it. I didn't get it at all,
No,
and
it's
it
kind
just
of
seems to
ethereal. You gotta
be
swirl
coming
it.
in.
Well, this one has changed considerably
Yeah.
sitting here and getting air.
What'd you think?
Well, I agree with all of the notes on the nose. You're spot on, Bob, and the palate. But Justin thought it had a. You okay? Need CPR?
Not yet.
Okay.
Get out the paddles. Clear.
Justin thought it had a really short finish. I actually thought it had a more medium, pleasant finish. And for me, the finish got spicier. It's the finish that I had expected in the rye. And it's here. So I like the finish. I like
Yeah.
the nose, the palate,
I'd
the
say
finish.
it's like the last one was just the front of the palate and it dropped off. Here it's the front of the palate and the mid palate and it stays with you a little bit. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
Say it's
that's
medium
spicier.
finish. Yeah.
Definitely a little bit of a longer finish than
Yeah.
the previous
Yeah.
expression. For me, this whiskey is unusual. I thought
That's
it's
what your mother used to say about you.
Got you all choked up. So
I
Yeah, so you're
still
thinking about mom. There you go.
thought when it first poured and even through the tasting today that it's just a little off balance for me. There's just something about it that's just not playing well together. And my first description of it was odd. I just think it's odd.
Exactly what his mom said at the hospital.
I agree with the things that you guys have all said. I pick up all those flavor notes. I just don't feel like they play well together.
that's interesting because this is my favorite of this expression.
Yeah, I like this one.
Maybe that's why you like me.
Yeah,
You like odd.
that's for sure.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
That's sarcasm. Oh, good. Because your opinion matters.
yeah, exactly. So So we're going to be giving the Heaven's Door Double Barrel Whiskey 3 sips.
Interesting.
And so we're going to be moving now on to our next brand. So we're going to have Denise tell us a little bit about Treaty Oak and the first whiskey that we have for them.
Oh,
Okay.
do tell.
Oh, I will. So Treaty Oak Distillery is named after the famous 500-year-old tree in Austin, under which Stephen F. Austin signed agreements defining the borders of Texas. Their ties to Austin include their Waterloo gins, which are named after the original name of the city of Austin. In 2016, Treaty Oak moved to their current location, a 28-acre property in Dripping Springs, Texas, that includes a space for live music and a groundbreaking cocktail lab. Bring on the cherries, Bob.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
They started out with a 5-gallon pot still and have moved up through several different size stills to their current continuous column still. 90% of the grains they use for the products they distill are grown in Texas using sustainable organic practices, and they use barrels from Kelvin Cooperage in Louisville, Kentucky. The barrels are first toasted to caramelize the wood sugars before receiving a number 3 char.
I love Kelvin barrels. I
Right?
really, I mean, it's a cool factory to go to. I mean, they don't do tours. You kind of got to get a press tour, but the finish and the fit on those barrels, they look more like furniture. Peerless uses them as well, and they do it old school and will toast it over the wood shavings like you see, like in France, and
Yep.
before they'll go in with the char. So they definitely, I think, impart something different. So. All right, well, we're going to go to our first whiskey, and we're going to have Maury tell us about that one.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. So the first expression will be the Treaty Oak Ghost Hill Texas Bourbon Whiskey, 95 proof, or for Justin, 47.5% ABV.
Thank you very much.
This whiskey is aged for 2 years. The mash bill is 57% corn, 32% wheat, 11% barley. The wheat and the corn are Texas grown. So again, no rye. This is a wheater. It is named after their 28-acre ranch home in Dripping Springs, Texas. Ghost Hill Bourbon is made with local heirloom grains from Barton Springs Mill. So Texas grown heirloom grains, Barton Springs Mill. So this one, I think, of the Treaty Oak expressions has the nicest color. It's definitely a little bit more mahogany and coppery than some of their other expressions, which are quite a bit lighter. On the nose, it's definitely got some grassiness and some cereal notes. There's definitely a little bit of wood and some stewed fruit. Excuse me. It's got a really nice mouthfeel. There's definitely a lot of those same flavors on the palate. I find a predominance of oak, leather, and tobacco. I think it's a little bit young for my palate. I think it's well made. I think it's going the right direction. And I would love to visit this whiskey after another couple years of barrel aging in the heat of Texas. What do you think, Denise?
Well, I'm still drinking, but
Sorry to catch
let
you
me get back
with your mouth full.
It's okay. What I really noticed when we were pouring these on this particular one, and perhaps they're all like that, but the legs on this, when you swirl it around in your glass, it's almost syrupy, but you certainly don't get that on the mouthfeel. So I'm not really sure why I noticed that or where that comes from.
Yeah, it's definitely got some fusel oil in it. I mean, it's got body. I'm definitely seeing what you're saying.
Yeah, it's got a lovely viscous.
Yeah, but that
coating.
oil comes through on the nose for me as well, which is interesting because I really couldn't figure out what it was, and I was going to defer that nose to the three of you. But then I got the wood and the grassy notes. I guess maybe it was sitting and got a little air. On the palate, there's this description of seasoned wood, and so I got seasoned wood on the palate. For me, the finish was short, it was sweet, and a little bit spicy.
What do you think, Justin?
Gracias, Bob. So speaking of gracias, there was a definite grass note in it that I detected as well, and oak. And then on the palate, this time real leather.
Wow. Moving up.
Yeah.
Pipe tobacco, dark cherries. And this one had a short, pleasant finish for me, and the mouth feels kind of ethereal. It's not creamy. It's not dry. I don't really know what it is, but it's unique.
But it coats your mouth,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah, it's got a nice coating to it.
Like Jim Beam did a special edition where they distilled spirits with real distinct grains, and you could tell this is a really distinct grain, like reminding me of like red wheat. And what'd you think, Maury?
Well, I kind of told you what I thought. I still think
I
pretty
don't
much
think
the
we
same
heard
thing.
Bob thought.
Again, I love
Thank
viscosity.
you for paying attention.
Bob, did you want to put your
I
two
got,
cents in?
I got on the palate. I definitely got some cherries, like some black cherries on the front.
We're going to have to move that jar off the shelf over there.
I got the oak, not balsa, which you usually look for is balsa. The leather was there, maybe a little bit of fermented tobacco, like old tobacco leaves. The nose is definitely, you can smell the cereal. You can smell the grass on it. It's got a nice oak to it in the nose, but it's not overpowering. It's not an oak bomb. Overall, I think it was extremely well done. We're going to give this one 3 sips.
Interesting.
Hey, and we're back, and we are discussing some whiskeys from Treaty Oak Distillery out of Texas. We just did the Treaty Oak Ghost Hill Texas Bourbon Whiskey, gave that one 3 sips. So we're now going on to our next one from Treaty Oak. We're going to have Justin tell us all about that one.
Treaty Oak Red-Handed Bourbon Whiskey. It's 95 proof, which is 47.5 alcohol by volume. This is a blend of sourced whiskey from Davis Valley Distillery in Virginia, aged 4 years. It's 66% corn, 14% rye, and 20% barley. And from Oz Distillery in Kentucky, aged 2 years.
O.Z. Tyler.
O.Z. Tyler.
Yeah.
You'll always be the Wizard of Oz to me.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
We're
It
not.
was made by a Tin Man. And,
Reminded
made
me
in
more
the
of the
Tin
Lion.
Man.
Aged 2 years, 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% barley. And looks pretty light. On the nose, I got some oak, light vanilla, and pepper. And on the palate, I got a big black pepper hit, which diminished once air got to it. Actually got a lot more pleasant after we had it open for 20 minutes. It's spicy and a woody finish. What'd you think, Maury?
I agree with you. This whiskey really benefited from some air. When I first went through them, I thought that the Ghost Hill bourbon that we just reviewed was my favorite from them. But as we move through this and let it sit in the glass a little bit longer, it's become quite a bit more pleasant and a little bit more balanced. I thought it was very closed, very hot, and almost unpleasant at the very first sip.
I agree.
Right out of the bottle. But I would agree with you. It's gotten a little more creamy on the mouthfeel. It's definitely got some wood, some tobacco, some leather, some spice, and dried fruits. So I think it's a nice effort. Miss Denise?
Yes.
What did you think?
Well, I got a couple different things on the nose. So on the nose for me, I had some vanilla, some baking spices, some cocoa. So that was making for a really great recipe in my head. And on the palate, I got the pepper and the dark cherries and a little woody. And it did benefit from air, definitely sitting here and trying or tasting through them and coming back. The finish, medium to long and dry and spicy.
Yes.
So
Dry.
I liked it. I like the finish.
It's
Yeah, I
definitely
think
more
this-
mature.
Oh, we're going to
than the
include
first
you
two.
in
I think this one
Bob.
definitely did better with air.
Yeah.
We were all a little bit lower on the score when we first opened it, but now that it's sat here open for a good hour or so, this one is vastly changed. And I just put a couple of drops of water in it, and it also really opened it up. So I'd tell you, try and put a drop in. This one, you get the oak. I still get a burnt sugar, like off the top of a creme brulee. And the tip of the nose, I get cherries, like dark cherries. And on the palate, you get that black pepper. I get a little bit of tobacco leaf. It's got a really nice mouthfeel to it. Definitely get the spice. The water takes the spice down, but it opens everything else up. Yeah, I think it was really well done. Try it with a little bit of water. See what you think.
I just add a little bit of water. It definitely opens up some of the flavors.
Yeah. It takes the spice down. That's the one thing about adding the water that I didn't like, but everything else opened up significantly. So
yeah, I get a little more cherry and fruitiness when with the water.
With the water, all that comes through. It was kind of muted and underneath the spice. So,
If Bob would have had the sound bite to "If I Only Had a Brain" during that description, that would have just been epic.
Sorry, I don't have anything quite like that. Let's see, what do we have? Oh, this is sort of similar. You can try this one.
For I am a sinner in the hands of an angry God. Bloody Mary, full of vodka, blessed are you among cocktails. Pray for me now at the hour of my death, which I hope is soon. Amen.
That one never gets old.
Never.
It just never gets old.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
Yeah, no, this one was lovely, and I think everybody thinks it's definitely went up since we first opened it. So we're going to be rating the Treaty Oak Red-Handed Bourbon Whiskey 3 sips.
Interesting.
All right, so we're going to be going to our last whiskey for this show from Treaty Oak. This is the Treaty Oak Red-Handed Rye Whiskey, 100 proof. What's that ABV?
50.
Look at him. Those night courses are really working out.
Like a broken clock, right? Twice a day.
He told me he's going to school to get a GED.
Yeah.
For us, that's a GED, but he's going for a GED. Red-Handed Rye is a sourced whiskey that they got from the Shenley Distillery, also known as Valleyfield Distillery. The old Shenley Distillery, about 30 miles west of Montreal. I think the old Shenley Distillery here in the U.S., I think that got torn down. It's on an island in the middle of the St. Lawrence River.
That's cool.
Which I'm thinking, when I hit 6 numbers, that's going to be my new secret villain lair.
They do river surfing there.
I mean, think about it. You have your own island. You can build a fortress of solitude, and you have a distillery there already. That's the perfect Bond villain place.
Just need a couple of Webers to do some smokers.
Yeah, well, we can build a pit. Mm-hmm. That's not a problem. It's not a home without a pit somewhere in the yard. Come on. So this one, again, we did a Canadian rye show, and I'm sorry to the members of the audience. I tried to explain to Brent over and over and over, Canadian rye is not rye whiskey. It's just a word that they use. He couldn't get that through his head. He kept thinking it meant it was rye whiskey. This is a Canadian whiskey, which uses rye as a grain in it. It is not a rye whiskey, really, I don't think. If this is 52% rye, I'd honestly be surprised. The nose, it's got a very crisp, sort of clean nose to it. I get the rye notes right at the tip of the nose. On the palate, the rye spice is there. It's not overpowering. It's not what you would think of like an American rye where it's, 75% rye or more. But you get that bit of pepper spice along the front edge of the tongue, maybe a little bit down the center. I get some caramel on it, and I get a little bit of stone fruit, like a pear, maybe like a little bit of apple on it. But very nice whiskey. What'd you think, Denise?
I agree with everything you said. You said the nose was crisp. I actually got some floral notes. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's all that I got on the nose were some really pleasant, though, and pretty floral notes. Mainly,
that's definitely there.
Mainly the pear and green apple for me on the palate. And the finish for me is short and minty. And you get some mint on the end of that.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
It's just right there.
That's exactly what it is. You nailed that one. I've been trying to figure that out.
Anybody?
Spearmint.
Thank you.
You're right. Mm-hmm. Spearmint.
Right?
Well,
Interesting. I did
initially
not
tasted
expect
Just barely
that.
there, too.
Because it's
just
not on the
barely
nose.
there.
It's not on
Yeah.
the palate per se.
No, it's on the
but
very back of
on
the
the back
palate.
of the finish.
It's very,
there it
very
is.
subtle. And it's not
Really
in one
strange.
place. It's the whole mouth. You get that spearminty.
Tingly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's nice. That's what it is.
First tried this
She's
whiskey, I thought it was broken. It was just...
What your mom said at the hospital when you were born.
I was overwhelmed by the petroleum distillate solvent nature to the nose, and I really couldn't get past it. Now that it's sat in the glass for an hour or
Again,
more,
that's written on his birth certificate. And
a lot of that's blown off, and I would agree with Denise that I got green apple predominantly and some pear on the nose. It's like a green apple bomb. If I didn't know better, I'd think this
On the
was
nose or the palate?
The nose.
Oh, I got the floral on the nose and then the pear and green apple on the palate. So
I get them on
interesting.
both, but I definitely
Okay.
got on the nose. If someone put this in front of me, I'd think it was apple martini.
yeah.
Oh.
I get the apple. I get the crisp of the apple and the tip of the nose, and then I get what you said toward the back. They're both there. They're just in different spots.
But
Not with you.
it's striking that it's such a light color. It's the lightest color of anything we've drank today.
Well, probably use cooperage. My guess, So, I mean, that's a fairly common
Yeah,
practice.
we discussed
so.
that earlier. That's a good point, Bob.
What did you think, Jess?
I got those sour apple candies,
Oh, okay.
On
Yeah.
and I definitely got the mint.
We should be getting that on the other one because. No, wait, no.
You mean
this one? This one? Yeah, Texas. This is where they make Jolly Rancher.
The Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
Green apple, right?
I wonder how
Yeah.
far away it is.
Exactly. And it has a
The
similar.
king of all candy. I mean, let's
Right,
let's
I
all be
know.
honest.
So
You get the
true.
giant bag. You pick out the green ones first, and the red ones second,
Right.
and then maybe the purple ones, and you take the blue ones and you throw those to your kids because they're only kids eat blue food. I mean, it's just wrong, But you eat the green ones first, right?
Absolutely.
Right? See,
I love the blue cocktails, though. I go to a restaurant, any cocktail that's blue, I order it.
Really?
Yes.
That
well, when he was a
surprises
kid,
me.
he used to drink Windex, so
So not
Oh,
surprising.
Yeah.
That's a childhood
yeah,
memory.
it
Yeah.
comes back
Okay.
to him once in a while.
Okay.
So
I got
Why is Windex blue?
keep idiots from drinking it.
right.
Except children
Yeah.
because they like to eat and drink blue things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what a finish. Windex.
Hey, bless
It
my
cures everything.
Bless my
It does.
grandmother. She had a thing of cheap dishwashing liquid that had the bottle had cracked and was leaking, so she needed something to put it in, and she put the pink dishwashing liquid in a bottle of Pepto-Bismol and put it under the sink. And when I was a kid, I had a bad stomach, and my stomach was bothering me. So I asked her, I said, "Hey, could I have some Pepto?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." And I went into the sink and got it, and got about 2 gulps down before that flavor hit me. So went outside at the farm and threw up soap for 20 minutes.
Did you feel better after that?
Surprisingly, I did. Yeah, once I got that taste
there
out of
you
my
go.
mouth, that was fun.
That's Bob's
Yeah.
version, but I'm pretty sure the more accurate version is he was being bad and saying some really bad things, and he got his mouth washed out with soap.
No,
But I do like your story,
drank it. I drank it. I mean, literally like 2 gulp. When the second one went down is when the flavor hit, and
that's
I went,
awful.
"Oh yeah, yeah." Bless her heart. She's not with us anymore, and she was horrified, But like you said, I probably deserved it anyway.
Explains a lot, Bob.
Doesn't it? Better than a Windex, smart guy.
Yeah, well,
And
Well,
then he invited all
and
his
there
friends
is
over
the
and said,
second
"Hey."
title of this show.
none of us go through life unscathed.
I know.
This also is true. So,
He went to school and told his friends he was pooping bubbles.
I wish.
And they were like, wow, Bob's cool.
The bubbles didn't come out that end. If it had come out that end, it would have been really awesome. Going the other way was much less.
Bob's
much
thinking,
less
well, maybe I need to
unpleasant.
try that again.
That would be the
You
most.
overindulged.
That would be the most horrible bubble blowing on earth. Actually, after that, I got a job
does that as
working
a
for
courtesy
the
for
Lawrence Welk show.
Proctology.
I was behind the bandstand. You remember the bubbles? Yeah. So that was, I made a few bucks doing that. But yeah, not bad overall.
Right?
Overall, this one was pretty good. So,
Yeah. I liked it.
what do you think?
Maury's just itching to say something. So say
No,
something.
I just to me it was a solid 2.
Really? Okay. You want to try mine?
Well, we've overruled you.
Okay.
We're giving it 3 sips.
Interesting.
Because much like every other day in your life, your opinion does not count anymore. So don't get used to it.
It wouldn't be the first time I was overruled.
Yeah, this is true. So anyway, what did you guys think? Fairly good, very good.
We had a nice lineup.
Slate.
Yeah, it was an interesting
Right?
lineup.
Very
So,
interesting.
I think the key here is there's not one of all of these that is the same as any of the others.
Correct.
Everything from Heaven's Door was different from everything else at Heaven's Door, and everything from Treaty Oak was different from everything else
That's
at Treaty
true.
Oak. Each one was very, very individual, which I kind of like it. It allows you to, search and find different things as opposed to having everything taste pretty much the same. Some brands are that way and some brands are not. And I think they're taking a pretty novel approach at trying to reach out and, find the profiles that work for them. So,
These Heaven's Door bottles are really interesting from the front, but they're much more impressive from the backside when you can see through
yeah, when you look through it and
the
you
whiskey.
see it, coming in the back.
Yeah, it's really cool. And of course, Bob Dylan's
it's just
signature at the bottom.
Yeah, it's just like Angel's Envy. When you look at it from one side and you see the wings
Right.
on the back, it's prettier on that one side. But
Yeah, they're really
it's.
cool.
I saw a picture of the gates there, and he's got quite the studio going there. So
Very steampunk on some of them.
really, if you're going to get somebody to work with you on a whiskey, having Bob Dylan involved, that's
Not a
kind of
bad
cool.
idea, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
That's
not
definitely kind of cool because you get the feeling he's a guy who's had a dram or two of whiskey over the years.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Yeah, I was really hoping one of you guys would do a little Bob Dylan impersonation today, but during your reading or sips ratings, but no.
Why don't you come
Well,
over
I am
here and have some
disappointed,
whiskey
Maury.
with me?
Darn it, I'm disappointed. You
Well,
could've
sorry
stepped
to
up.
disappoint you, Denise.
Yeah, we're gonna have some
See,
whiskey.
Justin
It's really
came
good.
through. Look at that.
Yeah. Really enjoyed making this whiskey for everybody. Hope you liked it.
We did. We enjoyed it.
That sounds like a cartoon character. I just can't get my hand. I can't get my
But Bob
finger on
Dylan
it.
sounds like a cartoon
I know
character.
what it
Well,
is.
that's true.
It's like listening to Deputy Dog or something. With Draw McGraw. I can't figure out which one it is, but there's definitely somebody there.
Out there that sounds like that.
Could
Yeah.
be Mr. Peabody.
Can't make everybody happy, Bob.
Well, that's just creepy. That's just definitely very, very, very creepy. So, but yeah, no, it was nice to have all the different ones. So, each one had its own distinct flavor. So it's a fun show. So, well, that's all the time we have today. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes where you found this one, as well as on terrestrial and satellite radio, and online at iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, CBS Radio, Radio.com, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, Blueberry, and about 400 other online places. Any place you can listen to a podcast, basically. The easiest way to find this show on your phone is to ask Alexa, Siri, Google, or whoever the lady is that talks back to you when you talk to your phone, play podcast Sip, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our daily tasting notes fly out on Twitter every day at Sip Sud Smoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. And you'll also be able to interact with all the other fans on there. You can also check us out on Instagram at Sip Suds and Smokes or at Made Man Bob. Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. It's a big help, and we get to see your feedback as well. We want to thank our co-hosts. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. Oh, Maury was getting ready to jump in. Thank you. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed it.
I would never jump in ahead of you.
Well, if he's going to be that way, I'm going to skip him. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Oh, dear Lord. That's just wrong. Okay, and thank you, Maury.
Thank you, Bob. It was a pleasure being here again. Love the musical theme today in the basement.
It's nice down here in the basement. I like it. It's damp and fun, so... And for Sip, Suds, and Smokes, this is Made Man Bob, and we thank you for joining us. And remember, life is too short to drink bad whiskey.
Yes, it is.
been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.